Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of Dark Agnes from Marvel Comics. This is a character created by Robert E. Howard, who really hasn't had a whole lot of comics. She had appearances in Robert E. Howard's Savage Sword from Dark Horse. She had short stories in that series. And then she appeared in Marvel Comics Serpent War as one of several different characters in that series. And now this is her first ever comic series. So this is a mini series, and let's take a look at it. The cover I really like. I think it could have more going on as far as the background goes. I think that's really the only thing it's missing. It's just gorgeous. I really like the attitude. I like the toughness that it shows with this character, and it's just really nice. I think the cover, if a good cover is enough to justify buying the comic by itself, this is worth picking up. But let's take a look at the whole package. And unfortunately, the interior art is very, very different. It is a mix between detailed rendering and stylized cartoony art, and it just doesn't work very well. I mean, this is the first time we see Agnes in this issue, and God, what is up with her face? And this is a good illustration of like how cartoony it gets. And what's up with this wine? It looks like it has the consistency of jelly. I mean, and there's stuff like this where this is actually her throwing it through this guy's collar, but it's drawn so strangely. I honestly thought this was supposed to be blood or wine or something, like maybe she hit the dude's cup, but no, this is his collar. I don't know. It's just not very well rendered or colored. And the story, honestly, the beginning reads like a Monty Python gag. I am not familiar with Dark Agnes as far as the original source material goes. Obviously, I don't have a lot of context for what it's like, but I read a review online of the original Robert E. Howard stories, and we read the Dark Horse shorts, and this just doesn't seem to be anything related to what the character is like. I mean, it reads almost like a farce, like it's campy and cheesy at the beginning, and I'm just not sure what they're going for here. It just doesn't feel like a Robert E. Howard story. And then I was wondering in Serpent War why she killed her husband, and I'm still wondering that. It kind of dances around her origin. It shows like a cryptic flash of it towards the beginning. It mentions it a little bit in the bar, but just bits and pieces. There's a cryptic dream sequence, but it's a dream sequence where like the funeral where she kills her husband or something, but it's like animals are there instead. I mean, why not just give us a page that tells her origin, or 2 pages, whatever, that tells her origin, and then move on? I don't need half the issue just making cryptic references that are unclear to a reader who is not familiar with this character, which is going to be just about everybody because she's such an obscure character. Just tell her origin and move on. And I will say that the premise is, guess what? She is wanting to avenge her murdered mentor, which, yes, is almost the exact same premise as the Valeria miniseries that Marvel just did. I don't know if these were done independently of each other and it's just coincidence, but it just seems like someone could have mentioned like, hey, we already did that with Valeria. Maybe you ought to come up with something more interesting, because obviously quests for vengeance are super generic and can be super boring unless you find ways to spice it up and do it at a different angle, which Valeria did. Unfortunately, I don't see any of that in this particular mini-series. It's just kind of it's somewhere between ridiculous and bland and boring, and just not a particularly great comic as far as the artwork or the story goes. The cover really is the only thing I can recommend it for. That being said, this is the only Dark Agnes series in existence, and I want to buy a Dark Agnes miniseries. So I am going to sit through this thing. I hope it gets better, but as far as me being able to recommend you buy this, I really can't. It's just not that great of a comic other than the cover. I hope it gets better. Marvel has plenty of resources that they can put out good comic books about these characters, and they deserve to have good comic books put out of them. All right, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the issue in the comments below. And like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, I really want to know why Dark Agnes killed her husband. See ya.